Previously on the Bahati Show.
I would pray so much. I wanted pageantry, but I was so scared of it. I felt like I wasn't so good. So I started praying, normally, and I started having dreams. Me being crowned as Miss Uganda. So I started...
At Seroma?
Yeah, at Seroma.
Wow.
So I started praying about it. We had an altar at Seroma. So I would go to the altar, I pray like every day. So when I entered Form 6, it now became serious. It became a dream. It
Pageantry.
was part of me. So I started telling people, you guys, me, I'm a queen. I don't do those things. I don't do this. And then they were like, but you girl,
I'm going to be a Miss
you
Uganda.
said before you were model, now you're crossing to a queen. I was like, yeah, people change, and I've now changed. They were like, okay. So whenever they would tell us to do like certain things, I would be like, me, I want to bend my crown or fall down.
Katolowoza kono jovude no gama naye kati jenvudde wala nnyo kati ate kuntuse wano kumpi kadhi na tentandika okugera no gamba no byansi just no gamba no what kati kiveewo buvi because then still life moves on tewali muntu afa pain
tewali kibeere by the way
tewali muntu afa pain kasita pain egwawo nogenda okulaba dakika 5 enkya ng'oseka ate nga waliwo ekintu ekyali kikusanyiza obulamu ne butambula.
So clearly, if you see people that have unaligned values, but why do you think people with unaligned values come together? Like what? Like seriously, because there's so many.
We date wrong. While you're dating, you're ignorant. Let me tell you, someone was saying last week, someone was saying to me, love is not blind. You are seeing the red flags. You are seeing the things that you won't be able to tolerate, and you're still walking in. Because we look good together, he's handsome, he's rich, but you know that I'm going to struggle with this man.
So let that sink in, and I hope that you can be able to look into your own life and say, what am I ignoring?
It's so powerful because once you pray to God and you have faith in Him and you believe in Him, leave it alone. There's no need to...
Leave it to Him.
Yes.
Don't push in your own power.
Right. So when I look back at my life, I'm like, so that was true. That's actually what I did without even knowing. I prayed to Him, manifested my life, and just left it alone. And then eventually it happens and you go back to old diaries and you're like, wow, every single thing. And once those happen, then you create new things and new things. So it's just about believing in God, but also being fearless about what you want and specific about what you want.
Gave me confidence to know that actually I don't need to be the best. I need to show up.
Exactly.
Because these celebrities were showing up, you know, they didn't know how to dance and they were teaching, they learned, they were vulnerable. They allowed themselves to be vulnerable and learn and do all that, So I started to watch that and I started to really, get to learn a few lessons from that and all that. And remember, by that time, I'd never been in front of any professional teacher to teach me dance. And I am such... That's why I love God so much, because there was a time I became really hungry and I wanted to learn, thirsty, to really like, I'm like, God, and all I could say, because I looked around and there wasn't anyone that would give me what I needed. I just went every time on my knees and said, God, teach me how to dance. Wow. Teach me how to dance. I don't know how
there's no one. I don't know anyone.
I don't know how that's
but gonna I know you.
Yes, I don't know how that's gonna happen.
But teach me how
to dance.
An honest prayer. Always a beautiful moment to have these life-changing, world-changing chats. And for the tribe of trailblazers, the pathfinders, the people that are out there to change the world, it doesn't matter which arena. You could be a housewife changing the world. You could be in the business sector changing the world, in the marketplace changing the world. I believe it's a belief that we have, that we practice our purpose beyond our careers and beyond what everyone else has to say. I know that that message is jumbled out in the world out there, but I know that so many of us are going to find our footing. And to help us find our footing today, we have the beautiful Imi. I've had my eyes on her for quite some time. She looks young, but it seems like she carries a world of big dreams on her shoulders. And I'm like, how is it possible that not a girl, I'm tempted to call not a girl, but a pretty lady like that can have a heart for fellow women in the entrepreneurship arena to start Mukazipreneur. I've seen the awards, I've seen people talking about it, I've seen the events where they have been, and I've seen the impact firsthand from people that have benefited from it. So we are here with her to help us navigate this whole journey of purpose finding, passion, monetizing, and being able to just rediscover who we are. Fulfillment, by the way, satisfaction, that is the epitome of everything. So Imi, I'm happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here. You know, I've been in so many spaces where they're like, that's the Mukazipreneur lady. And we're like, no. She's not the one.
No, you don't look like it. I don't know what we expect.
Like, they expect maybe a big
old
grown
yes
woman.
I don't know when I saw you, because for so long I'd been, when you hear something that has taken like the trends, then you get to ask yourself, who is behind this? So I also kept thinking, it's I think naturally we imagine, we have imagination, we create an imagination around something, and then all of a sudden I get to see you and I'm like, wow. She has huge dreams, and I want us to start from, let's just introduce you, because if I introduce you as just a founder, Mukazipreneur, that will be a very small glimpse of who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm happy to be here. My name is Imi Nachayune Ayanmungisha. I am married to a handsome man. And we have...
Aren't they all handsome?
And we have a son.
Okay.
I lead the team at Mukazipreneur, but I also work in telecom.
Okay.
That's my 8 to 5 job.
Okay.
So my day is a lot. My day is busy.
It must be.
Yes, I'm doing my 8 to 5 job, then I run to Mukazipreneur, then
and
I run home.
to mother,
yes,
and then
I run other projects. It's fulfilling doing Mukazipreneur. I wake up when I'm just ready to go at it.
And I'm glad we get to have this conversation when you are that lady that is in both places.
Yeah.
But harnessing the best that you can from both forums. Because so many people think by being purposeful, you have to totally transition and be the other side. And that is where so many purposeful and passion-led jobs, and I think you've seen so many women struggling.
Yes.
They're chasing their purpose is not bringing in their money. Instead of doing your job and be able to finance until the time where you feel you are ready, and you will know it, that you are ready. Yes, but I want to start this journey from when you were young. You are young, but when you were younger, like, what were your dreams like? What was your school life like? Did you ever envision that this is the kind of life you would live?
My childhood, I was very close to my dad. My dad was a journalist. He's called David Mosoke. We grew up seeing him on television. So he kept empowering me and telling me, you're so good, you can do so many things. Every time we're driving, he would tell me, do you want that to be your first car? I'd be like, no, that's small, I want a bigger one. So
how old were you then when he was asking those questions?
Like maybe 8, 9.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's engaging a young mind. And as in the footprint of bigger dreams.
Exactly.
And, wow.
So we'd continuously have conversations about growth and my aspirations and what I want to do. I remember he told me, you don't have to marry early, take your time. Then he gave me an example of Nabagerika. He told me, you see the king left all these women here and went for a very grounded, knowledgeable woman who wasn't young, but a bit old. So those are some of the conversations we used to have.
Wow.
So for me, I think my dad prepared me for the world. He really did. He prepared my mindset, my thinking. He exposed me to so many spaces. He exposed me to Rotary. Rotary really, really grounded me and introduced me to how to discover myself and my passion better.
Wow. And fathers, I don't know if you guys are really paying attention. I didn't see us go through to this end, but to have a father who grounds you, I talk about it so many times, that fathers play a very big role in the girl child. If they can pass on the confidence, the dreams, the aspiration. But in those moments when he was talking about those, weren't you the kind who's, he's just old, he's just saying things for the sake of saying?
No, right from childhood, I was an A performing person. My things were always right. In fact, my mom kept saying I never gave her a hard time. My things were always done well. So I think that foundation kept me grounded. Yes, and going for the best and going for greatness.
So you get to campus, what do you do?
So I wanted to do engineering, but then there was this new course that my father loved, actuarial sciences. It's deep math.
Wait, so you do what your father wants?
Yeah, so he told me, you have to do actuarial sciences. You're brilliant. No, I'm not going to take you to do engineering.
So actuarial sciences, like what was the end result? Like what was the marketable job? Because some of us went for courses because there was a job at the end of it all.
So actuarial sciences is about using statistics to determine when, for example, whether you will die.
So, and he knew all those things?
Yes, he had done research about it. So
and he knew you would have a job in Uganda?
Yes, he thought after some time, by the way, actuaries are doing well in Kenya now, in the States, in the UK. But in Uganda, they haven't yet been really appreciated.
I would think so.
Yes. Most of my classmates moved to Nairobi, moved to UK. Some pivoted to accounting, audit.
To different areas.
Different areas.
Okay, so you go through with you.
So I go through it, and it was a tough course. Very tough course, yes. And I didn't find jobs. I struggled to find jobs. I think my first job was paying me 350,000 shillings.
What was that? What were you doing?
I was working at Hotel Africana. Okay. That's a story for another day.
I know. It must be a long one.
Yes. But then I immediately, unfortunately, my father passed on just 2 weeks after he picked me from my last year.
Oh, no.
Yes, he suddenly passed
Your
on.
hero.
Yeah, due to heart attack. So I picked myself up quickly. I immediately enrolled for a master's. I was paying for myself.
In actuarials?
No, in financial services. This time I said I need to get a general thing to balance this actuarial thing. So I started doing a master's at Makerere.
And you paid for yourself?
I was paying for myself, yes.
While you did a 300 job?
50, yes.
350 job.
I would walk. I would walk.
Like you're mastering, but you're footing and earning 350.
I would reach class sweating. I would reach work sweating.
Like what were you thinking?
I just needed to survive. Okay. I knew for me to get a better job, I had to put myself at a certain level.
So you had a bigger picture and you were working towards it. It didn't matter what hurdles you were going through, you were just willing to work towards it.
Yes.
So you go ahead master? So
I mastered, and towards the end of first year, my lecturer recommended me for a job. Okay. I went on the panel, that's in telecom, and I got the job. Okay. That was the real moment where I stepped up. Yes, but then I joined Rotary. My father was a very, very proud Rotarian. So I said, let me join to make him happy, wherever he is. I joined Rotary, so I joined a group of people who are forward-looking. Entrepreneurial. I've been in spaces. I see the cars they are driving. Charity. Charity. I hear them talking about their passions, the businesses they are running. I thought to myself, that's where I want to be. So I continued to expose myself around those people. Community. Yes. The community work would go and do in different districts. I got to understand the real impact in community based on what we are doing.
While you do your 9-to-5 job, you're here exposing yourself.
Yes.
And in that same breath, I want you to talk about the power of community. Because I feel like most people are trying to find themselves in isolation.
I think COVID really showed us the power of community. The people who are not checked on in COVID really struggled. if no members of the church checked on you, members of the clubs, be it an investment club, members
your workplace.
Those who are not checked on really struggled with mental
depression, anxiety, panic attacks.
That's how powerful our community is. But also they say that people you hang out with make you.
Yes.
If you hang out with the best, you work towards being the best.
Bahati.
I know so many of us keep saying, oh, I'm an introvert, oh, I don't like going to people, oh, and by the way, men and women alike. But there's something you've hinted on about community and you exposing yourself to that community. And I want you to just hint on the power of community, because today we talk about it, I think it has become a cliche, but people need to know that if, what do I gain by exposing myself and being surrounded by greatness and people that can inspire me to be something.
I think the power of community was really exposed in COVID. If during COVID period, no one checked on you, no community from church, no from your investment club, that's if you belong to any, that means there is a problem. Many people suffered with mental health. We saw people going to the bypass to run, so that's they're just surrounded.
Doing
they're just surrounded by people. It was so bad.
The isolation. I don't think God in his mightiness created us for isolation.
No.
I think he created us to commune with other people.
Yes, and that's how we are supposed to survive. Ikigai talks about community. It says most of the people that live for long, during the day they work, then in the evening they walk to a center where they can gather and just chat about life.
Imagine. and yeah, in the same, there is somewhere I read that says they did a research for quite a lot, for 90 years, and they discovered that people that got to 90 years, they started with these people around 19 years old when they were in school, college. When they got to 90, the people that had died before the age 90, most people didn't have community and support systems. So the people that had support systems, like you have a wife who tells you you're not going anywhere, we still need you, your children, your surrounding, like most people lived longer, not because they didn't have the sicknesses, they had sicknesses, but they had a support system.
Absolutely. So honestly speaking, community is everything. We all have to belong to a certain community.
So you expose yourself and you see how these people are.
How they are basically
sometimes
living.
It seems like they're even bragging. But
you know, sometimes you go to homes of Rotarians and you wonder, am I still in Uganda?
I know, is this a mansion?
Is this a mansion? What do they do? Which companies are they running? You're exposing yourself to them. And then they become your friends.
No, you go back to your Kazigo. And you're like, clearly there's something wrong.
Yes. But I've also gone to so many companies for sponsorship. And they tell me, the final guy sits in the other office, you try your luck. And then I get there, and he's a Rotarian, or she's a Rotarian.
Just imagine.
And then I get the deal. So
and they love supporting each other.
And they love supporting. They're like, oh, I know you. You are good. You are a good person in Rotary. I've seen you serve. You've been a leader. Oh, you are president of the club. Oh, wow, you did a good job. So how can I help you? Then the conversation
goes on. You get the deal.
Yes.
Why? Because you exposed yourself. It was a personal choice that you made.
Yes.
And some people wait to be pushed and to be motivated. And sometimes even, you didn't appear today. You see, even church, people are reminded to go to church. I'm like, what do you want?
Yes, so I think it's a personal, it's you understanding what do you want in life. We are not here for a long time. If God called you today, what would you tell God?
What did you do?
So God gave you talents. How many did you use? How far have you tried to explore your talents? Steve Jobs will say, look at the phones they are now using, they're upgrading the knowledge that I gave them.
I know.
I left an innovation.
That's the baseline, it's a foundation.
Yes. Life is beautiful, but we are here to make it better for everyone on earth. So for me, when I die, I want to say, God, I've done my best. I've impacted this number of women. I've created these products. I've tried my best. Now I can go and
rest in peace. But sometimes I think we send people off and say, may they rest in peace. Their souls are fighting. They're like, no, it wasn't time. I have not done anything. There's nothing to show that I even existed on earth. And one thing I believe in, even if you touch one life, that that is so huge if you can turn around someone's life. So you now go to Rotary, and when do you conceive the idea of I should be able to start something?
That's another story. So in the telecom, we woke up one day and they outsourced our department to Chinese. We were about 200 employees. They cut the number to about 100. Imagine the fire neighbor on the right.
I know. And
on the left, at the back.
Wow.
You know you're next.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I wasn't fired. I stayed on, but I kept asking myself, in case I got fired today, what would happen? We get comfortable in our 9 to 5. We are seated in the AC. We're able to pay rent for our space.
You come in
drive
high
your
heels
car.
and high-waisted,
Yes.
Gundi,
Like,
checking your
life is
keys.
good.
Yeah.
But what if the check is taken away? What will happen?
How do you survive? So those questions.
I kept asking myself, like, no, I don't want that to happen to me. When it happens to me, I want to be ready. I want to be ready. So I started my first business then. It was a cleaning services company.
Okay.
My friends, my colleagues in office also started their the ladies, they started their small side gigs.
Okay.
We would meet every month just to engage, find out how do we register our businesses, how do we market, where is the market, where is the Katale, where can we go?
Yeah.
So the meetings intensified. The number kept going up.
So out of the panic, you all ventured into certain things.
Yes, but we're learning.
Yeah.
There is a lot that we didn't understand. We are trying to figure out many things.
Now you're used to getting a check, and now you have to put your mind to something.
Yes,
and
we
figure
have to
it
look
out,
for market.
make it work.
Yes, so we started having these engagements. Number increased to 12. Before we know it, we were 24 on the WhatsApp group. Then before we were 50. Then people were doing advertisements there. Then I asked myself, okay, I think I can make this an organized community. Basing on the knowledge that I got from Rotary, I can register this into a real organization. So I registered it as a social enterprise limited by guarantee.
And where did Mukazipreneur come?
I read a lot. I read how do people think about company names. I got a piece of paper. I wrote names. I prayed to God. Piki ponke.
You land on one.
I land on one.
Like,
Mukazipreneur. I came up with a name. I came up with a mission.
Registered it, objectives, values.
So
you're alone?
I'm alone.
In your house?
I'm a single founder, yes.
Okay. And you're thinking about all this. I don't know. I just feel like some of us are putting our minds to rest. Some of the people, I mean, so many people that are viewing us. And sometimes we are so afraid to even think and dream.
Yeah.
The reason as to why you dreamt, I believe you believed in yourself.
Yes, I did. But I also saw a gap where I can offer my services.
And so many people see gaps, but they sit
back.
They even have ideas, but even just to say it, even around the table, they can't even raise a hand. They can't even say, I have something to say. Yes. They always edit everything they think, and they think, what will people say? Absolutely. So the fear, the lack of confidence, everything.
Imposter syndrome.
People would have had big dreams and maybe big companies or big organizations, but they are seated on them because of fear. So how do you introduce it to them? You're like, guys, now organized community, here we come.
So I announced, guys, now this is an organized community. It is briefcase, but we have a vision. We need to have direction where we want to see this organization. We want to skill women. We want to really provide business development services for our businesses. Our businesses need to grow. And I kept sharing statistics on the group. Uganda is one
Betting on your course.
Yes. And like, guys, you know, Uganda has one of the highest women entrepreneurs in the world, but you see our businesses, they are not growing. They are just staying there. They are not registered. They are not formalized. We do not file taxes. We do not really want to stay here. What can we do to ensure our businesses grow? So, of course, some bought the idea. Some are like, I know.
I know.
For us, want our networking thing, and that's it. So you know what it is like working with women. You really need a lot of patience.
A lot of it.
A lot of patience.
And when you step into the leadership, while you're still with them, they're still shoddy, like they accept you for who you are. But once you step higher, they're like, how does she call herself?
Yes, yes. But I knew what I wanted. I knew and I know our vision is so big. We're not even yet a quarter way of the vision and what we want to do. So every single day that I wake up, I tell myself, how far have we gone with this vision? Where do we want to go? Okay. Last year we unlocked maybe about $90,000 for women businesses. I told myself this year we have to do better. And so far we've unlocked about $800,000 just this year. So I've already told my team next year we need to unlock about $2 million for women businesses because we need to see that these businesses are actually growing year in, year out. That's how we're going to measure.
Because you're the next chain of businesses that are going to be called big in this time, that are going to hold this economy.
Yes.
And that's a huge dream.
Absolutely.
So do you sleep? Like seriously, when you step up in leadership and you're lobbying and you're, you know, moving, pushing to make sure that something works, yeah.
I do sleep, but for less hours. You know, when you're a founder,
your husband must be a puzzled
No, now he's used. When we were newly married, he was really disturbed because I was.
What kind of woman is
I was always the yes. But now I think he has understood. When I wake up early or when I go to bed early, he's a really understanding person, and I keep telling him, my vision is not yet quarter way. I still have. I keep engaging him in
you
what
bring him along.
Yes, I keep telling him, babe, this is where I want to go. Now this is what I'm going to do. Next year, this is what I want to do. I keep
because that's the thing I actually wanted to ask you next, because so many visionary women keep getting or coming to me and telling me, but my husband is dragging me behind, but he doesn't want me to do this, or he doesn't want me to go for this, everything. Like whenever I share something, he beats it down. And I've told them that I know there are some women that have husbands that are supportive and supporting their dreams, but how do those women get their husbands to support their dreams? So what you say is you bring him along, like there's full transparency about what you are doing.
Yes, but also by the time my husband met me, I was already running.
Yeah, that's very important, very important. Because he can't marry another person and then have another person in marriage. So he met you doing that?
Yes, he met me when Mukazupreneur was already on the go.
So now, I mean, she's doing what she loves. I found her doing it. I might as well support her. That's good. Okay, so Mukazipreneur, unlocking money, giving investment. Do you go through a criteria? How do women benefit from this?
Our community is composed of women entrepreneurs at all levels.
People register. People subscribe to it.
Right now, it's free.
Okay.
Women entrepreneurs, our community is mostly informal. Most of them are informal. Today they are selling bags. Tomorrow they are selling shoes. Tomorrow they are selling perfumes.
Whatever is trending.
Yes, and whatever is making for them quick money. But when we get them onto the engagement platform, we try to speak to them to get into ventures that have a growth path.
Yeah, that are scalable.
Absolutely. We ask them, would you want to have this business in the next 10 years? If not, we get them into a thought process. What would you want to run in 10 years? What impactful business could you start and say, I can leave this for my children to run when I die? So we're also doing a bit of mindset change in the community. So we're hand-holding these that are really at the bottom while supporting those that are midway. It's a lot in there. That's why we have a number of programs. So the ones that have businesses that have maybe an annual turnover of, say, 20 million and above, we unlock capital for them. But also that the capital unlock for those is much higher.
So you
than
must
the
hit
one,
a certain
yes,
threshold.
Yes. We have a program called NSSFI Innovator with MasterCard Foundation and Outbox. We unlock $20,000 for every woman business. This year, we've so far supported 24 women. They've each got 75 million to boost their business. So you can see that those ones have managed to buy, say, machines, to improve their production, to boost sales.
The follow-up system must be quite tedious.
It's intense.
It must be tedious.
It's intense. And the due diligence for women businesses.
In Uganda, I don't know elsewhere in the world, but I found it quite, like there's a lot of zigzag in there.
Yes, we are trying to handhold them. We're trying to tell them, let's go. Some are sticking behind.
Some of them settle when they get to some places.
Yes, they get comfortable.
And they feel like, why are you even pushing me? I have reached, I've arrived.
Yes. We're trying to expose them to spaces that can make them a little aggressive, so that they can push themselves.
And we need it as Ugandans.
Absolutely.
Do you know how aggressive Kenyans are?
I traveled to Kenya
Nigerians.
this year.
Oh my goodness.
This year I've traveled to Kenya and Nigeria. And why I went there is to challenge myself a little bit. So I traveled to Kenya in May just to visit women entrepreneurs that were running enterprise support organizations like Mukazipreneur. I got in there, I saw what they were doing. Then our office was at Kanjocha House, just a room like this. When I came back, I told my team we are moving
to a house.
We are moving to a full house where we shall have a training space for the women, a work space for the women, and a skilling space for the women.
Wow. So you see how the challenge gets
I did that
moving.
after traveling
to
Nairobi.
And those guys, you will feel like, okay, now your mental capacity is over on another level, and yet we are not different.
We're not different.
We are not different.
Just
if we can hook onto that, then we can be able to speed up. And and when we are not playing catch up, but again, we don't want to stay stuck.
We don't. Kenya is off the list for the top 20 poorest countries in the world.
You see? But
and
where
Uganda
are we?
is still there.
I don't think we are even graded.
Uganda is still there. So I keep telling the women, how do we contribute to the economy so that we get Uganda off this list of? Because it's us.
We can.
It's us to do the job. We can't keep crying to the government if we're not playing our part.
Because I feel like, I don't know whether it's you share in the feeling, women are everywhere trying to do things. Men have settled for the blue collar, white collar jobs, and some have settled for the blue collar. But it seems like women are trying to push so hard to make sure that they enter different sectors and change a few things.
So their families can survive.
Because they are nurturing, because they want better, because they dream better. Yes, and I feel like what you are doing is, I wish government could really look into this. I feel like this is the transformation that we need to be able to break certain barriers and be able to move ahead. Because if someone is fully settled into a white-collar job, they're not pushing the pedals anymore. Like, they're just accepting a check and sitting there and hoarding.
Yes, and what happens to most women when they conceive and give birth, most of them don't go back to formal employment.
Yeah, who takes care of my children?
So most of them remain stay-at-home mothers and then start this side business, small. Now those are the ones we need to handhold so that they don't remain small.
Yeah, and yet they have the capacity.
Absolutely.
They have the brains, they have the brilliance. And also I think you need, I don't know how you're going to handle this, about relationships. Because I feel like relationships are a breaking point for so many women.
They are. Recently we had a program where we had to look at the documents, registration documents. So you see some women come for support, but when you look at the documents, the man has more shares in the company.
And they don't know.
So what we do, we call the man and we ask them to make it 50-50.
And what do they say?
Most of them accept, some refuse. The ones who accept, we go ahead to support the woman.
And now, yet it's the woman that is doing the donkey work. Why are you doing 50-50 again?
Because
you need
at least when it's 50,
support.
Yes, at least when a
woman
they're going
has
to earn
50, where they are not investing and where they are not planting.
Yes, you know when a man has 70 and the woman has 30,
oh no,
it is if we support the woman, the man takes the huge share. But if at least it's 50-50, you know the woman has equal share in the business.
Yeah.
So we are pushing that hard for, we're asking for documents. Let's see the documents. How much shares does the woman have?
Okay, and how much autonomy do you have? Because there is supporting someone and clearly they can't do anything by themselves. And there's a loop I think we get into as women, that when someone suppresses you for long, you give up on yourself.
Yes,
you start doing exactly what they require you to do. And there are so many brilliant women that are stuck.
Bahati.
So you so you said mindset change, and it's a whole lot of things going on.
A lot happens in our community. We have a book club in there to encourage women to read. We have personal development. We encourage them to work out, to walk, to run, so that they are sharp, to wake up early. A woman entrepreneur, why should you wake up at 8 a.m.?
Do they allow?
Some pick up the habits. Some do really pick up the habits. We have an investment club with savings worth about $20,000. So there is a lot that we are doing in the community to ensure we are hand-holding the woman, not just in business growth, but also in personal growth.
How do you deal with breakaways? Because on this conversation, we're looking at the viewer that wants to start up and wants to find their passion, but also we are looking at someone who is on the same footing with you, trying to handhold people, but trying to handhold people who are big-headed. I know that's a tough conversation. How do you, because there are so many breakaways. When you step into leadership, there are those who will believe in you. There are those who will not know what to believe in, and they will be in there.
They're always there. So we have women who just stay on the group and observe.
Kamoli.
Some of them, when they observe and they engage their fellow entrepreneurs, you really got the 75 million. It really came to your account.
Like they are doubting.
Yeah, they're doubting. But when they see their friends growing, they pick themselves up.
Don't they say Basosola?
No. All our programs are free. They are free of charge. We share every information about programs. It's so,
the criteria,
the criteria is so transparent in that it's about you and your growth. What
the
do you
effort
want?
that you put in. It's, okay, it will be clear cut that if you have not gotten to this level,
you will not get this.
You cannot
money.
unlock this kind of privilege and benefit.
Yeah.
Okay. And how has that left you mentally? Because I know that sometimes it can be exhausting to dream for others, to think, to be at the lead. I know it's quite a confusing space, and I think we don't have so many women leaders. I think we need to step up into that space also to support women leaders. Sometimes the support we need is to hear, the support I need is to know what's happening at your end. And then I know I'm not alone. I thought I was alone in these struggles, but she's also struggling the same. So how do we beat the odds?
Honestly, when I took on leadership in Rotary, when you're a president in Rotary, you're dealing with volunteers. They don't pay you, you don't pay them. They don't have owe you anything. Yes. That taught me a lot as a leader. It tested my emotional intelligence. It taught me patience. It grounded me.
Dealing with people, relationship building.
Yes, I learned a lot.
How do you get the best out of someone that owes you nothing?
Working with people, building real relationships with people. I learned a lot there. I remember when at the end of my presidency, we won about 10 awards. And everyone who wasn't happy with me because I was strict came to celebrate the awards.
Imagine.
So people want to be associated with you when you're doing well.
When you say, when you're being celebrating, then they're like, oh, our woman, our girl
has done it.
And yet they were looking down on everything.
Yes.
And,
So in a community, in a society, there will be people who don't
subscribe to the same school of thought.
Yes. But as long as your vision is clear, your impact is clear, what you're doing is clear, we just keep going. No one stays on this earth without being talked about.
Without those.
Yes.
I mean, God created us with a functioning brain, with mouths. We can speak anytime. So if you are a lead, and I think I found so many, especially women, I think we are so afraid and we walk on tiptoes and eggshells so
Imposter
many times.
syndrome.
The imposter, like, how did I arrive here? Do I even deserve to be here?
The imposter syndrome never goes away. I still have it as well. I get into a room, I have so many people like, oh my gosh, she's there. And I freeze, I'm like, oh.
Am I the one?
What am I going to say? What? Why is everyone calling my name? Why? It never goes away.
And sometimes your name runs faster than you.
It never goes away. But for me, I believe in God and I'm grounded by God. And I keep telling God to keep me humble, but to keep me fixed on my vision and purpose on this earth. I keep telling him I shouldn't grow so big that I forget my values and my
I thought I'd make that prayer alone. Even when it comes to money, I'm like, God, don't give me money that will take me away from you.
Yeah.
Give me enough that I will hold other people's hands.
Yeah. So I pray, and this year I've prayed a lot. I've gotten closer to God.
We share that.
And that this year when I've been so closer to God is the year I've made a lot of money.
And the peace that comes with it.
So peaceful. And when you're peaceful, your marriage is peaceful.
I know. And you're on the same line. And sometimes you feel like, whatever people are talking about marriage, I don't know whether, because the prayer just keeps you in that.
It's like oil.
Yes. It lubricates everything that you do, and it just feels. I've done that a lot this year, and I don't think we talk about the power of prayer a lot in leadership, and especially in women leadership. Yeah. Sometimes we believe I will talk about my efforts, I will talk about how much I have put in, but you discover that what you put in is nothing. That the things that God has saved you from are so many. The snares, the slander, the betrayal, the backstabbing. And you're like, I've told people if it really were up to me, I would have given up a long time ago.
Absolutely.
Like there are times you're like, what am I doing?
Yes. Many times I ask myself, so what
Let me go home and nurture my children and just eat and have fun.
Yes.
Instead of struggling against the tide, and you are struggling not only for yourself, but for other people, to bring them out as well. Because if it was for yourself, you'd have been putting on your bukondo high heels and swinging your khakis, going to vacations. But I want us to speak into the women that are out there trying to build something from scratch. The tears, the prayers, the consistency. I just want us to encourage them and show them that there is hope.
I encourage the women to start.
Yeah.
You can never know what you're capable of unless if you start.
True.
Everyone who has done things on this earth has started. Along the way, you figure out things, you pivot, you pick guidance, but you have to start. That's the number one thing. Then discipline and consistency. When we were in school, we kept hearing the word discipline. We would even sing it in.
Let's first go back to start. I want you to talk about the women that stay in the ideation process for so long without doing anything. Like they are planning, but their plans never come to fruition.
They need to partner. Gone are the days when you would do things on your own.
Well, that's huge. I'd never thought, thought about it.
At my ideation, I surrounded myself with people that I could partner with. If you notice at the start, most of the workshops, the events that we're doing, I was holding onto some company or some individual who was already exposed in that space. Partnerships have really guided us and Kaziprinia to be where we are today.
Wow.
Yeah,
that
so
is so huge.
They don't need to be on their own.
No, we want
ideation.
Chinochange.
No.
No, I love that. And partnership, I think you carry each other's burdens. And sometimes you feel like obanze nkongo la oboli ya carrying chinene no ga kampitire mwao.
But when you partner, the rich, you get a bigger reach.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you start, and then the consistency you were talking about.
Consistency and discipline. Your day, we have 12 hours in a day. How are you spending your day? We have, for me, I have a book where I write my to-do list. I time myself. I know in the morning, 30 minutes for praying, 30 minutes for running, then my meeting start, then my 8 to 5, then I squeeze in mukazipreneur, then I go. Like, you just need to have your routine aligned, and you need to be committed to your routine.
You can't keep second guessing yourself. You know, we want to live life. We want to flow. In life, you wake up anytime you want. You do everything anytime you want. And then the year ends, and there's nothing to show. And I think it's so painful. And while we talk about this, because now this is the time so many people are depressed. You look back at the 12 months and you're like, okay,
what did I do?
And then social media is showing you mukazipreneur that has been running. I know, because I see mukazipreneur everywhere. I see mukatale mukazipreneur everywhere.
But we live in a world of abundance. There is a lot for us in this world that we can explore. So I keep that attitude every month. And I'm trying to give that attitude to my team, and I'm trying to engage them, to put them into the vision, to continuously have that mindset. We live in abundance. There is a lot that we can do. Exactly.
We shouldn't limit ourselves, and it's not about who sees it and what they say, because some people, someone told me recently, it's a lady still, someone was telling, but you're doing quite a lot. I'm like, but this is your edge. If you feel like
these are the areas we have to work.
Yes, this is where you're supposed to put something out there, let it not work, withdraw it, go ahead and start another one. And you never know,
At 50, we won't have this energy.
True.
Actually, at 50, when you start something, you're struggling. You don't have energy to struggle with.
To even be consistent, and the resilience goes down a bit. Because then you're like, it will not work. But here, you 50, can gamble.
You pick your NSF of money, and then you're trying.
To gamble? No. That's why people die early.
Yes. These are the years we have to try things until we figure out what works.
And I hope the ladies, I hope that you have picked on that. This is the time, okay? If you have to bring your husband on board, if you have to call him babe, if you have to call him, if you have to call him sweet, whatever it is, make sure that you are running, like you are doing something. Not to say, and then I've seen some women that say, I don't know whether you've heard about them, that say, you know what? There is one who asked us last Friday and said that I think if I was single, I would have been far. I would have done much better things, bigger things. Have you heard of that notion?
Yes, I have. But honestly speaking, marriage is beautiful. Companionship is beautiful.
If you have a beautiful person in the marriage as well.
Yes, the guidance that I received from my husband, I don't think I would have if I was single. But also marriage grounds me. There are certain things I would be doing if I wasn't married.
I know. The kind of parties that you usually have. Exactly. You'd have stayed all night long. You'd have been, you know.
Yes, marriage grounds me, but also having a person that I'm accountable to. Like, I'm traveling. How many days? How many days am I going to be in Nigeria?
You have to call and check in.
Yes. 7. No, I can reduce them to 5.
Yeah.
So that I'm back to my...
Yeah, because you have something beautiful to come back to. And
yes, for me, I appreciate marriage. I appreciate the companionship, the family. I would want my children to grow up in the marriage setting. So I'll put in effort to
make it work. And to make sure that he's informed and on every step with you. I know that I feel so bad for the women that are facing the other side of the coin, where things are not working, but still.
I've been blessed with a husband that knows God.
Oh, that beats everything.
Yes. When you have a leader, a head of a family who knows God, you can find solutions to...
The discernment is different, the encouragement is different, just praying with them. That is, I mean, you break generational curses together and break records together. But for those of you that are struggling, there is still a way out. There is still a way out. Do not throw in a towel. And just like you said, I love the word that you've used, abundance. We live in abundance. And no one should tell us that the reason as to why some women pull others down is because they feel there's scarcity. And that's a mindset.
Yes. Yes, they believe, why does she have it? It needs to be mine.
And that's exactly one. And I think that is one of the sins that God talks about, the coveting. Like you see a car or a position and I want exactly. I don't want one that looks like that, but I want exactly that. So you can kill for it. You can do anything for it.
That's why we need to continuously have a conversation with God.
Yeah, that's true. To tame us.
Yes.
Because we are humans.
Yes, and the world has so many things that are attractive. Like, oh my God, this is, I need it. Then social media blinds us.
Oh my goodness.
It makes us view certain people perfect, like things are going on perfectly in their lives.
And yet we are not seeing the other side.
The other side.
Yeah. And yeah, it makes us stop believing in ourselves, even the people that we have, even our marriages. You see one where people are dancing and you're like, hey, we are not dancing.
Yes. We need to also dance. We need to record ourselves.
I know, and yet your person cannot even subscribe to that. Then you're like, where does that leave me? And that is a perpetual loop of failure, I think.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
It kills joy. But I think you should be able to appreciate where you are and work towards better, where you want to go. And the abundance bit, I hope that you can get into that mindset that Imi has shared with us. Abundance is everywhere. And when you believe in God, it's even more abundant. Yeah. It's even more abundant, as in when God gives you the discernment to know that you can be 100 businesses doing the same thing and you will thrive.
Will thrive. Yes.
And you will not seek to slander anyone, you will not seek to pull anyone down, but you will do the best that you can in the way that you can and leave the rest to God. Yes. And be able to go through with that. My end of year word for my community, the trailblazers and the coaching community that I lead, was the grace has been released. The grace to begin the year fresh and, you know, have bigger dreams, still looping into the abundance and what. And I believe that eases, it makes our burden easy to think, oh, I've not achieved, I know I've not achieved. Some of them we can't do in our own power, but if we loop into His grace, then we can be able to make it bigger than we ever thought. What word do you leave with us?
We normally, in our community, we normally have our vision board sessions in January. So we've already started sharing the documents for ladies to think about what they want to achieve in 2024. But my word to the women is to always go for great. Yeah. In everything that you're doing, go for great. Yeah.
Not mediocre. Not less.
God wants the best for us.
Yeah.
Yes. God wants, every time I wake up, God wants the best for me. What do I have today? Lord, guide me today, favor me. Show me where the money is. Give me the wisdom to say the right things here.
Yeah, and the courage to walk towards them.
Yes.
And that's life-changing. That's life-changing. When you talk about great, I usually tell my community that we're not here to sink or survive, but to thrive. Yes. And I think thriving, that is the greatness, the blueprint that God created us all. If He says that He knew us before we were born, before our paths were woven together in the sacred places, that He had a plan for us, I don't think that God would have a bad plan. He actually says a good ending. So that means the process should be towards the good ending. Yes, and that process is greatness.
Absolutely.
That process is greatness. So give us a prayer. Give us a prayer. Yes. Give us a prayer to cover the women in this nation. If we feel there's going to be a transformation and there's going to be another revival in our economy, then if God has chosen a woman to be able to accelerate that, I know that the men are there, they're really working hard, they're leading and they're doing what we should be able to cover them. And yeah.
Okay, let us pray.
Okay.
Thank you, Jesus, for today. Thank you for the thoughts. Thank you for enabling us to be here to have this discussion. Thank you, Lord, for giving us the opportunity to work, to impact the women, to reach those that are in need. Continue using us, my Jesus. Continue favoring us. Continue giving us the wisdom to make the right moves, to create the right projects. Continue providing for us, my Jesus. I thank you for the direction. I thank you for the favor. I thank you for the beautiful days. I thank you for the challenges that we shall go through them. And I ask that you bless every woman that wants to start anything. May you guide them. May you give them the right community. May you give them the right wisdom. May you give them the right friends that they need to be with and the right spaces that they need to be in. Guide us, Lord, as we impact the economy, as we impact our nation. We are on this earth to create change. You created us to make change, to make moves, to be great. May we be great, and may you keep us grounded in your word, in everything we do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. We love you, and thank you so much, Amy. Go to Mukazipreneur, go to her page, make sure that you love on her, make sure that you check on what she does. If you need the help, join her community, be one of those people that harnesses the power and the wisdom that God has given her to be able to hold your hand into your greatness and the next levels. I believe that it's very possible. So don't sit, don't hesitate. Some of these places are not created for particular people. They are created for all of us. So her platform is open. She said that. It's free of charge. Get on there, be challenged, and grow and be the best version of yourself. Thank you.